Hello, welcome to Board Games with Niramas. I'm Joseph and I'm here with Draco as usual. And yeah, he's excited. He's excited. I mean, just look at those eyes. He really wants to get into the top 100 games of all time, 40 to 21, which is what we were about to do. We're going to head into the really good games. Well, all of these games are good on my top 100, in my opinion. But now I'm really excited for these 20 games I will talk about right now. And most of these I have made a video for, so that's fun as well. Also, as you can see here, the Kickstarter for Board Games with Niramas is still up and running. There's 1 day left, basically. We have been funded. We had reached the stretch goals, which is really fun because that means there's going to be a Board Games with Niramas podcast being born in January, monthly podcast. That's going to be really fun. We're going to have guests and so on the podcast and talk about board gaming. Also, we have the stretch goal funded for all the backers getting a raffle ticket for a huge giveaway that's going to be in January. Where one of these lucky Kickstarter backers will win games and promos and fun stuff. So, and that's for all the backers. It doesn't matter which level you have backed on. So, you know, you still have a chance to get in on the Kickstarter. Also, I have to show you this awesome playmat. I hope you can see it. So basically, it's the same playmat that I have on my table, but now you can get your own in a smaller format and have Draco supporting you when you play card games and so on. So go check that out on the Kickstarter page. The link is in the description. And now let's start talking about game number 40, right? So game number 40 is Undaunted. And this is like, again, a mashed post here because it's Undaunted and Undaunted North Africa. I couldn't really decide between those two. I would say this one, as you see here, Undaunted Normandy, the one that came out first, is my favorite out of the two, though, when it comes to overall gameplay. Because I think you should start here. If you haven't played any of these, you should start with this one. The actual deck building is fairly simple in this one, and sort of the troops, it's like a two-player game, I should say. Two-player game where, you know, World War II, you know, fighting it out here. One is the Americans, and one is the Germans. And you have these like modular maps and like scenarios that sort of from actual history. And it's a deck building game, but the deck building in this one is quite simple. Like both sides have the same troops sort of, or the same kind of troops. And you're sort of purchasing cards into your deck. And this is where the game really shines. Because you have like a deck builder where the cards are your actions. And they will activate the little tokens out on the board. But then you will of course shoot at each other, and you will roll a die. I'm not a big fan of the die rolling, but the really cool thing is that like if I hit you, then I will not sort of hurt your token on the board, which is the usual case in most like war games and dudes on a map game, right? In this one, you will lose a card of that type from your hand or from your deck. And once you don't have any more cards of that kind, then you will lose the token on the board, and that's gone forever. So it's so cool how it's like a deck builder, but it's also a deck deconstructor. You're losing cards from your deck as the game goes on. And you have like these different objectives you need to reach or capture points and so on. And that's where the North Africa game, which is the second one that came out this year, is really cool. Because in that one, they varied up like what you're doing. So the objective might be to destroy a certain place and so on. It's less linear than the first one. But I like both of them, and I also know that they are coming out with like a solo expansion, which I look forward to, because right now it's a two-player game only. I should also say that in the North Africa game, then there's also vehicles, which is kind of cool actually. So Undaunted, I love the system, and I'm not thematically, I'm not a World War or a war themed fan at all. But there's a few games that like where it's okay, sort of. This is so abstracted as well in some ways. It's not. I mean, there's little text in the rulebook saying, "Oh, this is this battle that took place 1943 or whatever." But at the same time, it's sort of abstracted. It's more about the mechanics in this game for me. I mean, if I could choose, I would like to allow them to make this game, but with a fantasy setting, so it was elves against orcs instead. Then I would be, then it would climb up my list. But I love the game mechanics of the deck building and deck construction, or deconstruction. All right, let's head over to 39. So 39 is another Dudes on a Map game, sort of. It's Star Wars Imperial Assault. This one has been... This was my #1 game in 2016, I think. And back then I played it a lot and I really, really loved it. And I still do. I still think it's a really fun game. I especially like the whole campaign aspect of it. And it's like a one versus all game. And I always like to be the evil empire. Because then you have these like surprises for the rebel players. So they might open a door and something happens and they don't know what will happen, but you know it as the Empire player, so you can plan for it. And then you're like, oh, wait, something will happen now. And you read the book. That's really fun. And this video is an older video, and I mean the game is older, and I gotten better at painting since then. Look at these miniatures now. I wasn't that good at painting back then. I'm not still that good, but I'm better at least. But anyway, I had a lot of fun with this game. I haven't played it in a while. There is an app, there's a companion app, so you can play co-op or solo. And I am going to do that at some point. But it's like, this game suffers from what some other games, like Gloomhaven, there's some other games that suffer from this. That it's like the base game is a huge box to begin with. And then they stopped doing the series, but like I have everything for this game, so there's like 5 big box expansions or something like that. So just to pull it out, like, and I have the miniatures, some of them, Martin painted and so on. Some of them are like standing, on my shelves and just looking nice. So just to play the game, I would have to like pull everything out, sort everything. Okay, what goes where? Which card should I have? Bring all the minis together. So it's kind of weird. Like if I only had the base game, I would probably play the game more, which is like a strange. Yeah, that's a weird thing there. But I see this in other games as well. I just got the expansions delivered for another game of Tainted Grail. And I got the same feeling there, like it's too much. Like how am I supposed to play all of this? But I like the game mechanics of Star Wars Imperial Assault. It is descent basically, and I'm out of focus here obviously with my old camera. It's descent, there we go. Where like, it's like a dungeon crawl, but it's in Star Wars universe. And you like you have a certain amount of movement points, and then you're rolling dice to shoot, and you need to have line of sight. I do like it though. I mean, I'm not a big dice rolling to resolve fan. But in this one, you have a lot of. It's not just like oh, I rolled a 6, so then I hit you, because that's so boring in games when there's like that. Instead, there's like custom dice, as you can see up here. So I might need a certain range, and I get the range from the dice. I also have like different dice if I'm doing like a lightsaber attack or if I'm shooting a blaster. So, and there's a lot of modifications to the dice rolling system, which makes this game really fun. And there's all the lovely miniatures. And Draco has his... Oh, Draco, you had your Obi-Wan Kenobi suit up there as well. I almost forgot about that, Draco. You really liked that. We still have it in the wardrobe, and your lightsaber is in the wardrobe, I think. We should dress you up at some point. He was so happy to play Draco 1 Kenobi. Alright, let's head to number 38. It's fun for me to watch my old videos as well. I've forgotten about a lot of things. Now we go into Euro territory, but it's a very thematic Euro. It's the Networks at 38. If my computer can load, there we go. And the Networks is a really, really thematically and well, also mechanically cool game. It's you're running a network, right? And you're let me just check here. Okay, I knew my chat got stuck because nobody said anything. Hey, Andreas and Bjorn and Alex and Mats and Egius. Oh yeah, Andreas, you actually played Star Wars Imperial Assault once. That's it. Yeah. Draxidius. Yeah. All right. Well, I knew sometimes my chat gets stuck and I don't see anything, and I'm like, that's weird. And then I just update and I thought, oh, there's a bunch of people here. All right. So anyway, networks. As you can see, you're running your own TV network, and you have these like time slots. So you're buying shows, and like that rash. It's very funny how they made this game, and so you need to slot the shows in the certain time. Like there's some sports, there's like movies and so on. and there's like different time slots during an evening, or sort of where you slot them in, and then you get viewers, and the viewers are your points. But you also need to manage your economy. You need to, like, you can get like ads, which, adding an ad which will increase your income, and then you can use that money to hire a star, to have a star on your TV show that will, draw more viewers. There's so much fun stuff going on in this game, and it's sort of a comedy style game in the way they have like named the cards and the artwork and everything. And they're doing like it's a parody in a lot of these shows. So like instead of the show Lost, there's a show called Found in this one, and so on. So it's pretty funny, and it's especially if it was just funny, then it would be fun for like playing it once or twice, right? But the gameplay, the game mechanics are also very solid and entertaining, and grindy for your mind as well. So that's why it stays there. I can play this over and over. I did a solo playthrough here with Racco, and I look forward to playing this game soon again. And since I did this video, I think last year there was an expansion out as well, which Andreas has. So I played that with him and the group, and that's a really good expansion as well. So it adds a lot of fun stuff, like asymmetrical powers, sort of. So your TV station, your network might be good at a certain thing, so you want to focus on that and so on. That's really fun. Networks, can really recommend it. Then we keep on going here, and we have a newer game, which is a bit interesting as well, because it's Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North. And I never really liked Imperial Settlers. I only played it once back in the days with Martin, and I just didn't like it at all. I think I would like it today, though. I don't know. There was this whole, I think it was the whole attacking aspect of Imperial Settlers, especially in two-player game, just like ruining stuff for each other that I didn't like. But Empires of the North is way more friendly. You can attack each other, but it's kind of costly. You don't tend to do that much. And this is basically a tableau building game, hand management and card play game. And it's really interesting in this one with the whole... Like, I describe this game as terraforming Mars if you only take the blue card, the action card. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, I made a mistake there. Okay, so if you only take the blue card and you make a game out of it. Well, there's other stuff going on in this game as well. You have a little cool sort of worker placement mechanic in play where you have this wheel, and then you sort of you have two workers, you place your worker, and then you can spend an apple, one of the resources, in order to activate that worker again and move it to an adjacent space. So that's also interesting, and you have this like raiding thing where you go out with your ship raiding. So it's not just a card play, but the main part of the game is this tableau building. You're building up in front of you. It's also really cool how there's a bunch of different factions, and each faction, like in this game, in this video, I'm playing with the Japanese expansion. Then you have like two Japanese factions, and then they're so different. They're so asymmetrical. So they sort of like they have like a play style, and when you start playing, you need to find how am I supposed to play this faction. I know some people don't like that because they want to have more of a freestyle, play like they want, but that's not how this game works. It's more of this game reminds me a little bit of Keyforge in that sense. That sort of, you need to, okay, I have my deck of cards and that you start with, and then you need to find out, like, how am I supposed to play this deck in order to make it shine and get a lot of points. So really enjoy this. Andreas thinks this game is too easy. He's really good at it. I don't know if he's won all the times. I think he's won all the times we play this. I don't care. I'm just having a lot of fun playing this game. And yeah, this is mostly, it's a multiplayer solitaire where you're sitting looking at your thing and you're doing all your combos. And then it's like, oh, it's your turn. I'm just waiting for my turn again so I can keep doing my combo. But I like that stuff. So Empires of the North, Imperial Settlers, can really recommend it. Then we move on to an old classic for me, or old, and I don't know how old it is, but Terra Mystica. And this game has, of course, been surpassed by another game, as you probably know that by now, if you've been watching the channel, you know that I have a favorite game that is way higher up on the list. It's based on this. But Terra Mystica is still good. It's still, in my top 100 here, in my top 40. I do like to play it once in a while. I played it on Board Game Arena, and I didn't really like it there. I played it a lot on Steam. I think it was last year when I was like out working. I was sitting at hotel rooms, and I had my iPad. I just kept playing it over and over on the iPad, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I think the thing that there's one thing I'm not a big fan of area control, right? And there's a lot of area control in this game, and there's a lot of I don't like the whole blocking aspect, because you could, like, if you play a 3 or 4 player game, you could, like, by halfway in the game you could sort of be blocked, and that doesn't make for a fun game experience. That's why it's not, that's why it's gone down on my list. I think this was number 15 at some point and so on, but it's still clinging on there. It's a lot of good memories, a lot of nostalgia. I love the asymmetrical factions. It's so good. And you have this, I love the system. My mind, sort of, my brain functions together with this game, because you have like the buildings here, and as you build one of them, then you see something under there. Oh, now I'm start getting ore or gold, because the building is out there. That simulates that the building is like a mine that is mining ore for you. And I really like that system. I really like how there's other games that do this as well. I know one game, Eclipse, for example, has the same system where you start off with all your pieces on your board, and then as you remove them, you start to get resources and income. I just like the layout of that, because it somehow works well for my structure. When I'm trying to think I can do this and then that, and that leads to this, that works for me somehow. Yeah, Andreas, I think you're gonna like this segment. I know that you already peaked, but anyway. So yeah, Terra Mystica, and I also like the first expansion, Fire and Ice, which I think is in this video as well. There has been a new expansion came out, I think last year, where there's some ships and some ports. I don't know really how it works. I haven't tried it, but I would like to try it, and I think that might be a little bit of a revival for me in Terra Mystica as well, because as I said, there's another game that I much rather play these days that is sort of the same thing, but better. All right, Terra Mystica. Let's move on to a new game, 2020 game. I think might be the first game from this year on the list. I think so. I think it might be the only game from 2020 that made it in, because again, I do my top 100 list. I have a deadline before Essen, so in October, that's where I close it off. So it's not that often that a game from the same year makes it into the top 100, right? But this is Monumental. Monumental is it's a deck builder, dudes on a map, area control, engine building game. There's a lot of things going on here. And this is a game I really want to play more. I only played it solo so far, but it's still so good that I made it onto this spot. And I would like to play it multiplayer with friends when I can. The interesting thing here is you're building up a deck of cards, just like in most deck builders. But you don't play the cards. You put them out in a grid like this, so 3x3 grid. Then on your turn, you can activate one row and one column, however you want. So, like, I could activate the middle row and the left column or whatever. And whatever I activate, that's the resources I get, that's the actions I get to do, that's the bonus things that are in play. Everything is, built on what is activated during my turn. And then so I get new resources. I can use those resources out here on the map, because it's a really lovely, I love how this game looks as well. It's such a good production. So out here on the map, I have my dudes, real miniatures moving around on the map. We're sort of fighting each other, but it's more of a taking area control. It's not that much fighting in the game in that sense. And you have there's a really nice combat system, how you move your leader and then you follow with troops, and there's no real randomness in the fighting. You can see from the beginning if you're gonna win or not. And yeah, really lovely map out here. You use your resources to move on the map or to do actions on the map, but you also use the resources to buy new cards into your deck to make it stronger. And you have these gold, it's like metal coins and everything. I have some kind of deluxe version with these play mats. Those are not in the retail version either. They sent this to me with all the deluxe stuff. So that really impressed me. I have a weak spot for cool components. And yeah, I really like this game. And I also got the expansion. I went out and bought the expansion I have it on my shelf. Can't see what it's called. Lost Kingdoms, I think, which adds more factions and new stuff. And I haven't played that yet, but I look forward to do that, at least in solo. And then at some point I will play this with my friends, because this is like one of those games that I will keep asking people to, oh, do you want to try this with me? Do you want to try this with me? Because I do have a lot of fun playing this game. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, like the blue cards here. You have the red cards that take up your 3x3 grid, but then you can also attach a blue card to it. So when you activate the card, you also get the blue effect. There's a lot of good game mechanics in this, like small things, small little twists to deck building that just, wow, it just shines. So good. Okay. I think I could be talking for like 10 more minutes about Monumental, but I'm going to move on. Next up is a game that I haven't filmed. This is a game that I know that my friends like a lot. It's Voyages of Marco Polo. So Voyages of Marco Polo is this is the first one. There has been a second one released last year at SSB. I tried it on Board Game Arena and I liked it more, but I only played it once, so that's why I didn't really put it on the list. So the Voyages of Marco Polo is a dice worker placement game. So you have dice that are your worker, you place them out, and depending on the value of the die, you sort of get different effects. Like sometimes a high die is good, well, most of the time, because that will get you more stuff. Problem is, if someone already went to that spot that you want to go to, then if you use a high, like whatever, if you use a 6 to go there, you have to pay 6 coins. So the balancing there is so good. I really like that. And then there's a lot of elements in this game. You move around on a map. You're trying to visit different cities to complete secret goals. You're getting special abilities or things as you go to these cities. And you have this whole, every player at the start of the game, you're sort of drafting for a faction or for a and those factions are so asymmetrical, and they all have super strong special powers. So I might have like a power that says that I can teleport on the map between the little oasis spots. I can just move between them, which is super strong. But you might have the power that you don't need to roll your dice at the start of each turn. You can just choose whatever your dice should be. And that's so cool. I really like that. And then you have these contracts, which I also like in the sense, because they sort of remind me, they're similar to Clans of Caledonia, and you pick up these contracts and you try to complete them. Now, this is a game where I can get a bit of AP, like analysis paralysis, where I sit around and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Because, wow, like, okay, I need like 4 camels and 2 cloth, but I only have 3 camels. How am I going to get the last camel? But if I go there, I can get the last camel. But if I go there, then I don't get the pepper that I need from the other place. And my brain just starts melting. But it's really fun. And I really liked how they made some upgrades to the second game as well. There's some twists to the game, and how the sort of it opens up a little bit the game, and I do like that because it relieves my brain a little bit. So yeah, here's a good picture where you can see like you place the dice. Like moving on the map is an action as well, that you need to place a dice in order to be able to move on the map, and then you can move like a few steps, but you have to stop if you want to take the bonus that you're in the city that you're going to. And yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in this game. Mats, I don't think I played with the expansions. I know that Andreas has 1 expansion, or maybe 2. I'm not sure. And I don't think I played with those. I'm not sure right now. No, I don't think so. Bjorn is saying that your head should hurt after a good game. Andreas is saying that I have played them. Okay, I don't remember. There's too many games. I don't know, Bjorn. Sometimes I like when my head hurts after a game, but sometimes I just want to have a relaxed, sit back and enjoy it with my friends, right? So I'm in on both of those. Next up, we have a game that has become a really huge favorite for me lately, and I'm gonna make a video of this on Board Game Arena. I play this all the time now on Board Game Arena. It's called Kingdom Builder. This is a game from 2011 by Donald X. Vaccarino, who made Dominion as well. And Kingdom Builder is like, it's such a... First time I played this game together with Andreas, I was like, what is going on? This is like so ugly. This is the worst looking game ever. And the gameplay is like, oh, you get 1 card and now you got to do whatever the card says. It's like, there's no game here. That's my first impression. And then I played it again like 6 months later, and I just fell in love with it because I saw the behind the sort of front, the ugly front. There's a super cool game. This game mechanics in. You're basically placing your little houses on a map, and every time you play, you have like a different random setup of objectives. So sometimes you want to like surround a certain like spot. Sometimes you want to make long lines. Sometimes you want to be on the edge of the map. There's a bunch of different, and there's expansions for this that's really fun as well. And so on your turn, you have to place 3 houses. And then you can play more houses if you have these bonus tiles, and you pick those up by being next to one of the bonus places. So at the start of the game, these days when I play a board game arena, I spend like the 4 or 5 first turns just going for the bonus tiles, because I know that they will help me later on. And I got them pretty good at it. I got a pretty high ranking on Board Game Arena now, even though I still meet people that have played like 700 games, and they do these things to me that I didn't even see coming. I never thought about how that you actually could do those things, and that's how I learned the game. It's so cool. Like it's like almost like I started playing this game competitive in some ways, because I started to like think through every move, and you think like it's almost like, you know, an abstract game, because you're starting to think like, okay, well, if I go there, if he gets this and he goes there, then this could happen, and then I could do that. So you start planning for like 2 or 3 turns ahead, but you don't really know, because you don't know what kind of terrain card you will draw. So that will affect it. But then you can plan like, if like, okay, well, if I'm gonna go next to forest, then I'm gonna invest in forest over here. But that means if I draw a forest card for the next 3 turns, then I will be stuck in that forest, and yeah. So then I have to take that into account. So oh yeah, Andreas thinks that Marco Polo is better than Kingdom Builder, which is not. It's definitely Kingdom Builder is the better game. It's only 1 spot difference on my list here, but yeah, but I would say that I also want to mention that they just released, just a few months ago at Spiel Digital, they released the Winter Kingdom, which is the follow-up to this game from Queen Games. I'm so excited to try that one. I look forward to that. I hope that I can get my hands on a copy soon and play that one, because in that one they made it sort of, it's not set where the bonuses are. So instead you have like a deck of cards with the bonus effects on it, and then you get gold as you place your buildings, and then you can use that gold to buy a special ability. So it's more like a mix up. I think the variation of the game will be a lot better in Winter Kingdom than in Kingdom Builder. Of course, we have to play. Andreas, you should meet me on Board Game Arena. We can play this on Board Game Arena, and I can live stream it, and I can show the whole world how I will beat you. I hope so, at least. Next up, we have another game that Andreas loves. This is Concordia Venus, or Concordia, but I really like Venus. I love you play in teams. There's not that many Euro-style games where you get to play in teams. Or actually, I don't even know if I played a single game that is team-based. If you have any team-based Euros, tell me in the comment section or in the chat, because I'm curious to see what other games there are out there. Concordia Venus is so cool. Like you play this like 2 versus 2 or 3 versus, or like 2 versus 2 versus 2. And the really cool thing as well is that you can't communicate during the game with your fellow players. So you're sitting like on the opposite side of the table, and like when I choose an action, then my co-player will also get to do the same action. So I need to choose an action that I can see that he or she also needs to do at that certain time, because the game is a sort of hand management game, and it has this. I'm gonna pull up the map here. There's a bunch of different maps for this, but so the map could look like this, and then you build buildings out here and so on. Kind of the same houses as in Kingdom Builder, actually. And so you have your hand of cards, and as you play them out, hey Hexabeast, as you play out your cards, you don't get them back, like they get stuck in your discard pile. But you have one card, the tribute, which brings all your cards back. And you want to do that as late as possible, because that's how you optimize your moves, right? But also because you get a number of coins equal to the sort of, well, there's a formula for that, but you get more coins the more cards you already played before you play your tribute card and start over again. But then there's also deck building, sort of, because during the game you're buying new cards into your hand that you can play and then pick up again and then play. And those cards have stronger effects than the cards that you started the game with, but they also define sort of the scoring of the game. So at the end of the game, depending on what cards you have in your deck, that's how you're gonna score, like different regions you built houses in, how many houses you have, what kind of resources you collected, how many workers you recruited. There's so much cool stuff going on here, and I really liked, Concordia as well. I just got a little bit bored with it because I played it a bunch of times, sort of back to back, and I felt like I'd done all the strategies in it, and I was like, sort of done with it. But Venus adds a lot of fun stuff. There's also a cool expansion called Salsa, where you have like salt. That also adds to the game. I'm trying to find a picture of the actual cards here. Come on, Board Game Geek. There should be a picture of the card somewhere. Again, I could have prepared this, I guess, but you know, that's not my style. All right, here we see some cards, at least on the side of the table there. So you're putting them out like that, and you're building up, and then you score depending on which cards you recruited during the game. Oh yeah, that's cool. I should film a 2 versus 2 game of this, like a live stream after the pandemic is over. That would be really fun. Just get 3 friends over here and play Concordia Venus on camera. That would be really fun. And I all these games that I have in my top 100, I have an ambition to sooner or later make a video of them, obviously. So yeah, definitely. All right, let's move on. I think are we at the halfway point? Now I have to check my rankings. Where are we? We are at Concordia Venus is 32, so we're going to 31 now. We're going to 31. And 31 is, where is it? There is a game I played a lot and I really like, and it's been way higher up on my list as well. It's Agricola at 31. And Agricola is Uwe Rosenberg's sort of, by now, classic worker placement farming simulation game, where you're building up your little farm, and you're like growing crops, or you're collecting animals, and then the animals will breed, even though in Uwe's game they don't really breed like they do in real life. So even if you have 10 sheep, you only get one lamb or one more sheep, which is always really weird. But anyway, one thing I really like about this game is the system of, and it's the same in Caverna. Caverna was further down on my list, but I like this one more. And I like the whole system of, and that's because in this game you have a hand of cards, and the cards, you draw them at the beginning, and those cards will then define how you play the game. So you're sort of setting your strategy at the start of the game, and then you're trying to execute that during the game. It's really cool. Hey, Jason is here as well, Six Men Gaming. It's really cool how you find these combos. So you have like occupations, and you have these improvements that you make, and you want to find synergies between those. And I really like the expansion as well, because it adds, like, you have to feed your people. I think that's what this game is most known for. That it's like the first time you play this game, you might end up having to go beg for food, and you get minus points because otherwise your people would starve. But as you get good at the game, or better at the game, then you always feed your people basically. But then with the expansion, you also need to heat your house. So you need to have peat or wood to make, so they don't freeze during the winter, or they will get sick and they can't work. And it also adds these, like, as you can see here, this is with the expansion, adds these, like, from the start of the game, you start with some forest pieces and like swamp tiles on your board, and then you need to clear those up in order to be able to build there. And you have these action cards that you can take instead of doing a worker placement action. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in that expansion, and the whole gameplay is just, place a worker, do an action, but it's so good. Really good. And I have this one Uwe Rosenberg worker placement game that I like more. It's coming on this segment as well, so just stay tuned. All right, let's go to number 30, which is the halfway mark. And this is Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle-earth. So this is a Fantasy Flight game, big box, Lord of the Rings adventure game. And it's like Mansions of Madness 2nd edition. It has a system of you have some components, you play a game on the board, on the table, right? But then you also have a companion app that takes care of all the boring stuff. It keeps track of how much damage the enemies have taken, and timers and all that stuff, and events. Mostly that's the main thing in this game, like the event part, where so if you would play this game with just cards, and this is why I love the implementation of digital technology into board gaming, because if you play a game with just cards, then of course you could there could be events, you could make choices and so on. But the whole way of the app remembering your choices and changing up the game depending on what you've been saying to people, what you've been doing during the game, I guess you could simulate that in some ways with cards and so on, but it's so smooth. It's so smooth. It's like you don't really need to think about all the stuff. You just play, and the app will take care of all the upkeep for you. So I really like that. And then the actual gameplay mechanics are really good as well. So when there's no dice, all your actions are done by card play. So there's hand management, and here we have the app, by the way. There's hand management, and there's like a cool system of your best, like you're drawing cards. Like when you try to do a test, when you're doing an action, you're attacking, or you're doing whatever, then you're drawing cards and you're looking for success symbols on those cards. It's just like Seventh Continent. And so, and you know what you have in your deck, right? So you want to have the success symbol card in your deck, because that means you will get better hits and so on. The problem is though that those cards are also have really good ongoing abilities. So you kind of want to play those out and have them in front of you. But if you do that, then you're thinning out the success and the amount of successes in your deck that you could draw later. So the balance there is really well made, and I really enjoy it. And I love the story element of this. And it's like the whole theme. You're going around with Legolas and Gimli, and you're Aragorn, and you're fighting orcs and so on. I have painted all my miniatures now as well since then. And there's expansions out for this. There's like DLCs for the app with more adventures. And let me catch up on the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying. Oh, Hexy Beast loves this game. Yeah, exactly. It handles all the fiddly bits. You don't need to move a lot of small tokens all over the place. It's really good for solo play. I agree. Really like this one for solo. It's really high on my solo, my top solo list. So yeah, Journeys in Middle Earth. I can't wait to play this more. I have the first expansion, and I want to play it more. But as with all games, there's too many games. There's not enough time even to play solo. So I don't know when I'm gonna continue this, but I have to do it at some point. I painted the whole thing during the summer, so they're actually down in my living room, because I painted everything and I set it up to dry, and then it's been standing there. So there we go. All right, let's move to 29. 29 is another game that I haven't filmed, and I'm not really sure I will ever film it, because it would be kind of tricky to film. It would require a lot of camera angles and so on. But Alchemists is a worker placement game with a heavy deduction element. It's almost like a Sudoku. So this game is always hard to explain if people haven't played it. Okay, here's the board. So on your turn, you do actions out on this board, and you are an alchemist, and you're trying to make potions, and you're trying to sell the potions to like adventurers in a fantasy world, right? And then so you're getting ingredients to make the potions out of, but you don't really know how to make the potions. So you have a bunch of ingredients, and you're mixing them together. You don't really know what the outcome will be, and to find out, you need to do some deduction. You need to figure out what does this and this component consist of. And to do that, you need to either drink the potions yourself, which could have some funny and bad effects, or you can give them to your assistant, and your assistant, you can force him, the poor little guy, to try out your potions. And then if you make a good potion, you can sell it to an adventurer to make money. You can also, to get points, you also want to go to the university and make these like publications about, okay, I think that the toad consists of this and that. And if you're correct at the end of the game, then you will get points. But if you're wrong, you will get minus points. And you can gamble on that, because you might not have 100% information halfway into the game. You might know one, like there's always two elements to each ingredient. you might know one of them, and then you're gambling on the other one. And it's also really cool. I really like the deduction here because you can sort of start figuring out that if the feather is this, then the toad must be that. And as the game goes, you learn more and more. And yeah, it's a really cool game. But as I said, you have these huge screens in front of you. You put tokens in, and then you have the board. And I don't really know how I would film this. It would be kind of tricky. I have given it thought. There was a time where I was sort of planning to do it, and then I don't know. I think I would have to have like other, a bunch of camera angles, or maybe a handheld camera. I don't know how to do that. And by now the game is fairly old as well, but I really like it. I really look forward to playing this again with my friends after the whole pandemic is over, right? So yeah, such a fun game, Alchemist. Next up, another fun game that I have filmed, and this video is really old. It's 4 years old, this video. That's so cool that I've been doing this for so long that I have 4-year-old videos. That always amazes me. So this is Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar. And in Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar, the really cool thing here is this wheel. I painted this as well. It doesn't look like this when you buy the game. But this plastic wheel that you're rotating, and you put out your workers, and then you rotate the wheel each round. And that means that the small wheels will also rotate, right? And then your workers will move forward, and they will get better and better actions or rewards as the longer you wait. And in this game, the workers don't come home automatically. You have to, you spend an action to place them, and then you have to spend an action to pull them home. And when you pull them home, you get whatever benefit they are at that point. And you want to time that so that you can pull all of them home at the same time, so you're not wasting turns, right? Because the game is quite tight. You only have I don't know, what is it, 40 turns or 20 turns, something like that. 40, I think. Before the game is over. You're trying to amass resources to build buildings. You want to go up on these technology tracks. You want to please the gods and climb up the temple tracks. Wow, this game is so good. There's so much good going on here. You have this game is some people say they think this game is really heavy for the mind. For me, I never really felt that. I always had a good time playing this. On the other hand, I'm not that good at it, I would say, but I always have a good time, and I really like the expansion as well. There's an expansion with prophecies, so it's like event cards. This will happen later on, but you can prepare for it because you can see it coming. And you have these tribes, so everyone has an asymmetrical power, a faction. The game is so good. I haven't played it in a while, and now that I'm looking at it and talking about it, I just feel like in my stomach, oh, I want to play this game, and that's a sign of a good game. That's why it's my number 29, right? So yeah, Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar, awesome game, and I think this will stay on my list, even though I haven't played it in a while. And I'm really zoomed in here. So let's move out of here, because I did zoom a lot back in the days when I did my videos. I realized later on that I shouldn't do that, because you get big hands, and that's not good. I've gotten better at making content, I think. I hope so. Next up is a newer game, and again, oh, I love this game. Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. And as I said earlier, I just got the expansions for this from Kickstarter. This is from my solo playthrough that I started doing. I haven't completed. I might complete at some point, but it's such time. It takes so long to make these videos. So that's why I haven't completed it, or at least yet. See if I can fast forward a little bit so you can see more of the... Here we go. So you have hand management with your character, and you play cards. You're moving out on a map. You have a huge story element. It's like a choose your own adventure game. You have this book or an app that handles and you make these choices that affect the game. The 5-10 hours later, something you chosen at the beginning might affect whatever happens later. I love that stuff. It's so good. And this, you're meeting monsters, you're doing diplomatic encounters, you need to convince people of things, and you do this by card play. That's really cool as well, because you're playing the cards, and you're in a row, and you're trying to combine the cards and make them connect together in order to trigger their effects. It's so good. And you have these miniatures. I painted the whole thing. I love these menhirs, these huge menhir miniatures that are out on the map, and they're like the statues that light up the land. And as long as they are, have their light on, you can move around and you can see things, and it's not dangerous. But they will go out after a certain amount of day, and you need to relight the menhir or build a new menhir. This game is so good, and I'm so excited to just get into the expansions. 3 campaigns I need to play. I don't know when. I need to find time. I need to get through Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion, and Pandemic Legacy Season 0, and then I will go into Tainted Grail. So, yeah, it's such an amazing game. I know some people don't like Tainted Grail, and I know why. Because in the base game campaign, and they fixed this for the expansions from what I understand, but in the base game campaign, there is this part where it's kind of grindy. Because it's a survival game at the same time. You need to hunt to get food, and you need to rest and so on in order to not die. Because if you die, the campaign is over. You have to restart. And I know that people don't really like that. Some people, I really like survival games though, like on the computer and so on. And I really like it when you have when there's no save. Like, okay, it's hardcore. If you die, you die. You have to restart, because it is annoying, obviously, when that happens. But that puts so much pressure into every decision, every combat. It's like, I can't just loosey goosey play some cards. I have to think through everything. I have to do it so as best as I can, because I don't want to die. So that's why the game is so good. Now, I will say, there's one little thing I don't like about the game. There's one thing, and that's the die rolling. There's some die rolling in this game where, like, oh, you meet, I'm just going to make something up now. You meet this dragon. Well, it's not a friendly dragon, obviously. And I don't even think there is dragons. Well, there's some kind of dragonlings. But anyway, you meet the dragon in my made-up scenario. And then the dragon asks you a question, and then, like a riddle. And then you need to test your wisdom or something. And you need to roll a die and add that whatever result to your wisdom stat. And if you fail, the dragon might be angry and hit you, and you lose half your health. And all you did was roll a die in the wrong way. Or like getting unlucky. I don't like that. That's the one part of the game that I don't like. If that was not in the game, this game would probably be in my top 10. Because the rest of the game is so good. But I don't like that. Like, it's okay with if it die rolling and you might lose like 1 health or, you know, whatever. But there are a few occasions during the campaign. I played through the whole thing. And it's not much, but there's a few occasions where I did all I could. I did my best, and then rolled the die. Oh no, I lost a lot of stuff. And I don't like that. Okay, let's move on. Again, one of these games, I could just sit here and talk about this for an hour. But I'm not going to. It's also a lot of spoilery stuff, obviously, so I don't want to show you too much. Then next up is another awesome game. There's only awesome games by now on this list, of course. So Clank. Clank is such a fun game. Again, deck building. I love deck building in games. And this one is a fun twist to the deck building formula, because you're building your deck and you're using your deck in order to move around in this little map. And you're trying to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And there's a bunch of different maps. This is the one with like underwater things. And you're going down there and you're collecting treasure, and then you want to get out and survive before the dragon wakes up and kills you. The dragon is mean in this game, Draco. It's not a friendly dragon. So the dragon will like get angrier and angrier as you go, and then it's called Clank because you're making noise when you're stumbling around. You're this little adventure guy. You go around in this cave, you make noise, and that will annoy the dragon and will, you know, get their attention towards you, right? Or towards all the players. So you have your cubes, and as you make clank, as you make noise, you have to put the cubes in a bag, and then you shake the bag up when the dragon wakes, and then you draw cubes. And the angrier the dragon is, the more cubes you draw, so the risk is higher that you get hit. And when you get, if you draw your own color, right, then that will be a wound, and you will start taking damage. And when you take on all the damage, you die and you're out. Yeah, this is so much fun, this Clank game, and also in this segment I put together the Clank and the expansions and everything, and Clank Legacy, which is an awesome game. I only played it a few times now with my friends. We got, you know, then we went into lockdown sort of. So we haven't continued the campaign, but I look forward to do that as well with them. Really fun Clank Legacy, where like it's this Clank, but the game evolves. You put stickers, you get new cards, you get new mechanics as the game keeps going, and your adventure gets better and better, and you specialize in a certain thing. Oh, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. Clank Legacy, I can really recommend. I think it's my favorite Legacy game, actually, to be honest. So far, I haven't even played the whole game yet, but yeah. So, wow. Clank, I could talk about it forever. I need to get something to drink as well. I'm getting so excited here. Okay. Next up is a game that I have filmed, but I haven't filmed the gameplay video of this. Again, it would be kind of tricky to do, or it would be a big, huge project. But Star Wars Rebellion. This is a 2-player for me, it's a 2-player only game. You can play with 4, but I never tried that, and I don't see the point of that. Because there's 2 sides, like the Rebels and the Empire. And you have these really cool miniatures, and this is like, I know Sam Healy from the Dice Tower, he said that this is Star Wars in a box, which it is. It's like the whole Star Wars saga, the whole theme put into one box, and you get to experience it all during a few hours. This is a long game, but it's so much fun. You're sitting up against each other. The Empire has this huge armada to start with, a lot of troops. They've taken over half the galaxy. The rebels just have a small little amount of soldiers and so on, and they're just trying to stay away and keep their rebel base hidden. And you really get this feeling when you're playing the rebels. You really feel like, oh, I have no way to beat this. I have no way to win in combat. I have to just be sneaky and play these cards, do these effects, send Luke Skywalker out somewhere and do this and that. You have like Han Solo. You have all the characters from the movies. It's so good. And as the Empire, that's my favorite. Then you're doing a deduction game. So you're trying to figure out, like, you have, okay, all these planets are out here, and I've been to this planet, and the rebel base wasn't there, so I can cross that off my list. And I sent probes out to look at that planet, and it's not there. And you narrow it down. And this game, every time I play this game, it gets down to a very exciting end where there's like, okay, there's like 3 planets left that the Empire hasn't checked yet. And the rebel base is in one of those, and whoever wins, it's going to be really close in the end. Because you need to find the rebel base, but you also need to get your troops there to conquer it, and then the rebels can have troops to defend in the base. And like you're recruiting new troops, and you're putting out your heroes on missions. You're trying to like go back and forth and counter whatever the other player is doing. Yeah, this game is so good. Oh, that's cool. Gospel Kingdom is saying he beta tested Star Wars Rebellion for Fantasy Flight games. That's awesome. And I really like the expansion of this as well. The expansion sort of improves the combat system a lot. So I really like the expansion for this game. So yeah, Star Wars Rebellion is so good. I just hope I could play it more often. I will really try to get back to this game when I can. I really enjoy it a lot. And this is just my unboxing video. I might do a gameplay video at some point. But again, it would be kind of tricky. I would need to go back and forth. And I don't know. It would be fun though. Draco would be happy. He loves Star Wars. That would be fun for him. Then next up here we have another game I haven't filmed. This is a classic game. It comes really high up on my list, but it's so much fun. Dominion. Classic Dominion from 2008. I love it. I love the gameplay of this game. And this is, again, deck building everywhere. This is the original sort of deck builder. This is what started everything in the genre. And this is a really basic deck builder. There's no theme really. It's like a pasted on theme. And it's all about like the mechanics. And every time you play, what really makes this game so much fun is that every time you play, you put out these like piles of cards, like decks, in different combinations, random, or there's like preset ways to do it. And then, like this is the box here. And then when you look at the table and the cards are set up, and you start playing, everybody starts out the same, which is a bit boring, I guess. But there's some expansions that adds things. There's like 13 or something expansions for this game. And then you start looking at the table and you're like, okay, so I need to do this and that and that. I need to do this and this combo. And you find sort of a strategy to go by. And then you need to adapt as the game goes as well, because your opponent might buy buy cards, like attacking cards, and then you need to buy the defensive cards or whatever. And every time you play, it's different because you set up this grid of cards. Bjorn, you have... Bjorn says this is boring. So yeah, such a good deck builder, and it's just deck building. It's just pure mechanic, and I could play this over and over and over. I did play it a lot online, and I got a little bit bored with it at times because I played it too much. But yeah, I really enjoy it. I like to play this with people that really know the game. Because then we go boom, 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 then it's your turn, boom, 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 and then it comes back to me, and it's moving so quickly, and it's just finding these combos. And I play this card that lets me draw a new card, lets me do another thing, let me do another thing. I like combo womboing games, so this is the main combo wombo, like the first combo wombo game for me. And Mats is saying that I don't like Quest for El Dorado. That's true. Quest for El Dorado is like in my top 300 maybe. I don't know why. It just didn't stick with it. It is a deck building game. And it's a racing game. It's a good design. I don't know. I just didn't really like it. Outer Rim. Haven't tried it. I'm not that excited to though. I don't know. Oh, Gospel Kingdom is saying the Star Wars Rebellion is not on his top 100, even though you beta tested it. Okay. Yeah, Dominion is awesome. Whatever. I don't care what Bjorn says. Now let's move on to the next one. This is a older game. This has been on very high up on my list, and I love the gameplay. It's Civilization, the board game. Now, Civilization, the board game is, I think, the longest game in play time that I love. This is a, well, not if you consider like Tainted Grail, but I don't know. That's a different beast. So anyway, in Civilization, the board game, it is basically Sid Meier's Civilization, the board game. You're moving around on the map, you're exploring, you're building new cities, you're fighting your opponents, you gather resources or access to resources. You do technology. There's like you can win by culture, you can win by gold, you can win by technology, and you can win by warfare if you conquer another player's capital. And you have all these. It's so cool how they made this. It's like all these little tokens. So when you build out your city, you actually place a little token to indicate, now I built this building, and then you build it up bigger and bigger, and you start getting more and more rewards. You're building wonders, and you need to defend your city. And later on, there will be like nuclear strikes. And yeah, this game is so good, and I really like. Well, you can see it here. I like the exploration aspect. It's only in the beginning though. Then you have explored everything, and then you know the whole map. And I always play this with the two expansions, Wisdom and Warfare and Fame and Fortune. Both those expansions are really good. I think they are a must basically to play this game. The base game I only played once, and then I just felt like, wow, these expansions are so good. And it is like a long game, and it has a lot of steps, like phases that you go through step by step. But if you have the time and you're really into it, it's so fun. And I like it at 2 players. Played it a bunch with Martin as 2 players. Really enjoy it, even though I think maybe 4 players is the best, but that's like a whole day project to do that. So it's not easy to get done, but the combat system is fairly easy, simple. It's just like basically, rock, paper, scissors. But it's also good, and that gets improved with the whole Wisdom and Warfare expansion. So yeah, Civilization the board game. This video is the one that has gotten the most views on my channel. This is a 40,000 something video, which is cool. At the same time, when I made this video, it's in 3 parts where I play against Draco. And when I made it, it's 4 years since I made this video, and I had a cold, and I had decent setup, I think, but the sound level, my microphone back then wasn't that great. So it's not like my best video, which is a bit sad because it's the video that most people watch. They still keep watching it. It gets views every month, all the time. Civilization is something that people search for on YouTube, obviously. And it's a bit sad that this is the representation. A lot of people, this is the first thing they see on my channel. So I have been considering making a new video of this. Just sort of like a celebration thing. I might do that when we hit the 5-year mark next year. I will celebrate 5 years on YouTube. Then I might, as a fun thing, I might do a new playthrough of Civilization the board game to celebrate that, because I would like to make this video, remake it with better better quality. But yeah, I really like Civilization the board game. Okay, just a few more to go. Here we have number 22. This must be 22. This War of Mine. Haven't made a gameplay video of this War of Mine, and year after year I've been promising my viewers to make a playthrough series, and it's right there in my pile of games to film with both the expansions, and I am planning to do it. It's just too many games. I don't know how to do everything. This War of Mine is a really cool thematic. Again, solo gaming for me. I mean, I like this as a co-op game as well, but it works great as a solo game. So you're in this house, it's really dark theme. You're in this house, there's a civil war going on. You're trying to survive. This is also based on a PC game, just like Civilization. And in this War of Mine, the game mechanics are so and so. You're rolling some dice, you're doing some sort of worker placement. That's not that exciting. But the storytelling, the story is so good. And again, you can have an app that handles it, or you can have the book that comes with the game. So you're making choices. And in this game also, it differs from, like Clank Legacy, there's a lot of choices and a lot of fun stuff going on. In this one, there's no fun stuff going on. It's more like do you want to do this, which is terrible, or do you want to do that, which is terrible? And you're trying to do the lesser evil if you want to be a good guy, right? And you know your characters, you have like this little, you have a party of characters in your house. Some of them will die during the game. Some of them will go insane or to get depressed. It's a really dark theme in this game, but I still like it. I still like it. And the gameplay when you go out, like during the nights, you go out and scavenge for supplies, and then you need to stay low. And like there is combat in this game, but that combat is like you're just a civilian and you're probably like starving and you might be sick. You're not like fit and can take a knife and just kill someone. So it's really hard to do the combat, and you try to avoid it as much as you can, really. And I mean, they really get that through with the mechanics as well. The theme and the mechanics in this game work well together. And in the computer game, they actually added, which I thought was really cool. I still think it's cool that they added like so if you're shooting like an AK-47, again, you're not trained to handle an AK-47, so your mouse will like shake, so it's like hard to hit someone. And that's just so cool. And they also replicated that into the board game as well, with like it's really rough to try to, you know, you might meet some bandits and so on. You need to defend against those bandits. So you will do your best, but you know, if you take a wound, that could ruin your whole game, because you know the wound will get worse and worse unless you have bandages and so on to fix it. Such a rough game, but such a lovely game at the same time. And these miniatures, Martin has painted all my miniatures for this game and both the expansions. So I have everything painted now. And I have both the expansions, and there's like a campaign mode, and there's different scenarios, and there's different maps, and there's so much content as well for this game. I really need to go back to play it more, and I really need to do that playthrough, solo playthrough. And that will have to be like a solo playthrough series, because this game could be like 6-7 hours, so I need to divide that up. But I'm not gonna promise anything this year. Last year I promised you that I will make one during 2020, and I didn't, so sorry for that, but I'm not gonna promise anything. I will try to make a gameplay video for this soon. I will try. I also have the E-Raptor insert, so it's quite easy to set it up these days. I really need to do it. All right, let's go to the last one. Number 21 on the list is the last one here. And this is an amazing game, just like all the others. This is Underwater Cities from Vladimir Suchi. A delicious games. Wow, this game is so good. This is a worker placements combined with hand management game, which is like two of my favorite game mechanics in one, right? So you're placing a worker, but you're also playing a card, and you want to play a card of the same color as the spot you send your worker to. Or actually you have to, otherwise if you send him to the yellow spot and you don't have a yellow card, then you don't get to play a card. Or you play it, but you don't get the effect. So you're always like in this hard, it's always so hard, and you have a small hand as well. So it's not like you can stack up on cards. You have like a strict hand limit, and you're just always trying to find like the best place to go to, but then your opponent might go there. It's really tight in that sense. And the whole game is tight, because you're only doing like, you're building up an engine, but you're only producing 3 times during the whole game. It's not like Terraforming Mars or other games where you produce every round. You're building up underwater cities, like you see here. Now this video is kind of old, this video is from when the game came out. So now in the expansion I have these like double layered really lovely boards as well, and the expansion also adds some more fun like modules that you can bring into the game. And Underwater Cities is such a solid gameplay. It's a game where I get the sort of the same feeling as I get with Terraforming Mars. I have fun during the whole game, even if I don't win, even if, you know, I mess up at some point. But I actually won this game a few times, even against Andreas as well. I'm actually I'm not that bad at this game. And one thing I really like about it as well is the cards that you can see out here on the map, on the board. That's like end game goals. And so during the game, you decide what end game goals you want to have. And I really like that aspect of the game. So, I mean, some games start out with like you have a hand of cards, like a secret goal, and then you adapt to that. But here it's more like you might, after like a bit into the game, you might realize that, oh, maybe I should go for this end game goal, because I found a good way to do this engine and build up this type of resource that will score me points in the end of the game. So then you will go for getting that end game goal, because that will benefit you. So that's really interesting as well. I really like that aspect of the game. And there's a turn order thing going on, and yeah, there's so much good aspects of this game. I think also that I played it solo, and I sort of liked it. It's not on my top 10 solo. It's not bad as a solo game, but I really like it as a multiplayer game, because you have this like tightness of somebody going somewhere and blocking you and all that. So yeah, I really need to play Underwater Cities soon as well. There's so many games I want to play soon. And then I need to film a bunch of games, and the piles are just getting bigger and bigger on my shelf. I'm not going to complain. It's a wonderful situation to be in, and I'm so thankful. I'm really thankful. I want to say that as well. I'm really thankful for all of you watching. I'm really thankful for everyone that supports the channel. I mean, my Kickstarter has been funded, and it's like it's double funded basically. And you know, I have all these good contacts with publishers and with people in the business and in the industry, and so much support and so much love. And I love the community. I think the board game community is the best community there out there. I played a lot of video games back in the days, and you know, there was so much hate and so much conflicts and so on that I don't see in the board game community. So love you guys. And yeah, let's end the video on this positive note. We will be back next Sunday, next week, Sunday the 20th, the top 20 to 1. And that's already recorded. That we had to pre-record that one. We couldn't do it live, because I'm doing it together with Andreas and Mats, my friends, who I also do a podcast with, and you know, I play games with them, and you know, and that was really fun. I can spoil that much, that we had a really good time making our top 20 list, and there was a lot of interesting games in there and discussions and so on, and I look forward to posting it. I will edit it and then post it. It's going to be like over 2 hours long, because you know, it's 20 times 3 games in that one. But we had a good time, and I look forward to showing you that. And it's going to be like a premiere next Sunday. So next Sunday, 8 p.m. Central European time, it's going to be a premiere, which means it's just like this live stream. You can be in the chat, you can comment. Me and Andreas and Mats, we will be in the chat, and we will have a chat with you guys. So you can be there and chat as well, and you can watch it live, sort of, even though it's pre-recorded. All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you watch this afterward, tell me in the comment section what you thought about the games I picked here and so on. If you have any questions, just ask away. And also, please go check out the Kickstarter. There's still 1 day to go on the Kickstarter, and you can still get some really cool rewards in there and support the channel, which we are really thankful for. So, on that note, let's see here. I will see if my equipment works. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening or morning, or whatever you're watching. Take care. Bye-bye.